what could be worse than being falsely convicted of a crime? What could be greater news than having your name cleared and escaping prison for good? Many people have been proven innocent and exonerated by DNA testing in the United States after serving time on death row. Hello everyone, and welcome to another video. Today, we'll be looking at the 5 reactions of innocent convicts set free. Yeah, you heard it right. So, let's start our video. Number 5. Devonte Sanford. A judge recently reversed the conviction of Devonte Sanford, who was condemned nearly a decade ago for a quadruple killing that he insists he did not commit. Sanford was just 14 years old when he was detained in his pajamas while standing outside his home a few blocks from the crime scene. Sanford confessed after 2 days of interrogation without a parent or adult present. Sanford pleaded guilty on the advice of his lawyers and was sentenced to 37 to 90 years in jail. Several weeks later, another individual confessed to the shooting, but Sanford remained incarcerated. The Appala State Defense Office soon learned about Sanford's confession and spent years unsuccessfully attempting to withdraw his guilty plea. In 2014, the Michigan Innocence Clinic and the Center on Adolescent Wrongful Convictions took up the case, instruct the Michigan State Police to reopen the murder investigation. Judge Brian Sullivan of the Wayne County Circuit Court then ordered Sanford's release and vacated his conviction. Outside the courtroom, Sanford, now 23, was reunited with his mother, brother, and sister. Number 4. Bobby Johnson. Bobby Johnson was wrongfully convicted of the August 1, 2006 murder of Herbert Fields, 70, in New Haven, Connecticut, in July 2007. On September 15, 2006, Johnson offered an audio tape confession at the age of 16. After extensive interrogation by the authorities, Johnson recanted his confession, citing coercion. Johnson pleaded guilty in order to escape a longer term and was sentenced to 38 years in jail. Kwame Wells Jordan, who was 14 at the time of the crime, did not confess and was cleared by a jury following a trial. Johnson's state habeas corpus petition was dismissed on October 7, 2013. After this refusal, the Connecticut Innocence Project reinvestigated Johnson's case in 2010, linking 2 other men to the crime, including the recovery of the murder weapon from one of the men and a conclusive match of the other man's palm print from the victim's car. Based on fresh evidence removing Johnson as a perpetrator, New Haven State's attorney Michael Darrington filed a motion to vacate Johnson's conviction on September 4, 2015, which was approved. Johnson was instantly freed from prison after serving 9 years. Number 3. Luis Vargas. Luis Vargas addressed the Los Angeles Supreme Court on December 7, 1999, shortly prior to being sentenced to 55 years to life for 3 crimes that he did not commit. He stated, "I shall ask for God's mercy on all of you. As far as I'm concerned, the individual who committed these crimes could be committing a rape or a murder, wherever in the world." In 2011, the California Innocence Project began its investigation into Luis's case. His case was a textbook example of post-conviction red flags, including the most egregious incidents of eyewitness misidentification. The entirety of the prosecution's case rested on the uncertain identifications of 3 traumatized young women. Luis was convicted based only on the victim's allegations of brutal attacks, while the defense declined to provide an expert in witness identification. In addition, the prosecution was emphatic that the same individual conducted all 3 assaults. Luis penned a letter to CIP and attached a Los Angeles Times article detailing the serial rape spree of the teardrop rapist. The teardrop rapist was a middle-aged Hispanic man with a modest frame. Because he was frequently characterized by his victims as having 1 or 2 teardrop tattoos beneath his eye, he became known as the teardrop rapist. The identical description was provided by all 3 victims in Luis's case. In contrast, Luis had 1 faded, scarcely noticeable teardrop tattoo that he obtained as a homeless 13-year-old, whereas the teardrop rapist committed over 30 attacks within a 1.6-mile radius of Luis's 3 assaults. In addition, CIP observed a startling match between the FBI's publicized description of the teardrop rapist's mode of operation and the prosecutor's 1999 closing argument. In 2013, CIP decided to analyze the only remaining physical evidence in Luis's case, the rape kit and one of the victim's garments. CIP filed a post-conviction DNA testing motion according to California Penal Code Section 1405, and the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office agreed to test the requested items. The finding of the DNA test indicated that Luis did not commit the rape, but the teardrop rapist did. Finally, Luis was set free. Number 2. Susan Melton. A woman sentenced to life in prison for murder and serving a 17-year sentence walked out of a courthouse in Torrance after a judge declared her life sentence a failure of the criminal justice system and ordered her release. Susan Melton, age 59, was embraced by her 3 children who had waited for the prisoner detainer to be released for more than 8 hours after the morning hearing. She stated that she did not comprehend how she could have been convicted by the court system. "They did not think I was innocent and they disregarded the truth." She said, "I simply cannot comprehend why they locked me up. It is absurd. It was a harsh penalty. Someone handed Melton her first cell phone during a portion of her news appearance, which she described as her first. She stated that transitioning to a life of independence would be difficult. In 1998, she was sentenced in the same Torrance courtroom where she had been sentenced hours earlier. A different judge presided over her trial. Superior Court Judge Marquez Arnold stated that the trial concealed the testimony of a persistent liar who claimed the Cantaloupe had confessed to doing a crime. The judge stated that Melton's trial attorney failed to investigate the witness's veracity well enough. Number 1. Stephen Avery. At the age of 22, Stephen Avery was wrongfully convicted of rape. Before being exonerated through DNA testing, he spent nearly 20 years in prison. On July 29, 1985, at approximately 3:50 p.m., Penny and Bernstein were out running along the Lake Michigan shoreline when an unknown guy captured them, forced them into a wooded area, and sexually abused Penny. Stephen Avery was arrested the following day when police supplied a photo array of 9 guys from which Bernstein chose his photo. Bernstein identified Avery as her assailant at the trial. A state forensic examiner testified that her hair recovered from Avery's shirt was consistent with Bernstein's hair. However, no information concerning the limitations of hair microscopy was presented. Avery provided 16 alibi witnesses, including a clerk of a business in Green Bay, Wisconsin, who recalled Avery, his wife, and 5 children purchasing paint from the store around 5:13 p.m. As evidenced by a checkout tape, Bernstein believed that the attack occurred at 3:50 p.m. and lasted 15 minutes. Avery was released on September 11, 2003, after a request by the Manitowoc, the District Attorney's Office, and the Wisconsin Innocence Project to drop the charges was granted. And that's all for today's video. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section down below. I hope that you found this video interesting, and if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. See you in the following video with some more of the latest updates, and until then, stay tuned.